which Kelly should be here, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be. Our attorney, you mean, yeah.
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 I hope you'd be.
I think there are some bids. Anyway, it's gonna be time to start. We have kind of a tight schedule here, so start promptly.
We need to get back on without the supercomputer. We fixed that, I've been told by someone. Main Street to New Street Rising, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired of it.
I don't understand. They was shrinking the road down, but not a whole lot, and then giving the yard back to the residents. Why do we need to come? Yeah.
Wait, lesson learned. Huh?
They didn't turn it on for you?
Probably best.
Definitely.
All right.
Pretty good.
You didn't come here to stir things up.
Sure I did. I haven't been doing nothing these past few months.
I'm on a tight schedule.
Sneeze. That's my goal. No sneeze.
I had to go.
Drive by and
Sinus or?
start feeding up into, into your head. Sucks. It's
Itself, yeah.
Really?
Stand, yeah. You don't have this plain old cold or something, it's very minor.
I'm gonna get home, get me some honey in it.
There you go. It's a good plan.
And it works. It works. Even that part.
Truly.
They do have an option. And they did not have that.
Guess there's a additional new resident. A young girl. An infant. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Adds to the population total.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Cyrus is a boy.
I never thought of it that way. We do go there, but more the summer thing for us. I get a Polish and
If they change their mind.
That's great. It's been best 12 years of my life. Of course.
Well, that's what.
Love my house.
Oh, yes. I like it.
If they change that.
Roger's back.
Last, I heard his mother last night.
Oh, yeah. exactly what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Pull up out front, the dark tinted windows.
Now we can get started.
All right. All right, it's 5:50. We'll bring the Finance Committee meeting to order. All right. We discussed you guys in the
Order,
back,
please.
you guys in the back done yet? We we can wait. It didn't turned on? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, I'll lean forward. My mistake. Okay. 5:50, we'll start the Finance Committee meeting. At the last committee meeting, I just brought up for information that Resolution 2026-112 would be discussed. As I said, this is a change of use request for the Trelleborg site. And this is the sole purpose. We have, the developer has received the credits, and I was asking that we move this forward for a vote at tonight's council meeting. Are there any questions about that? Because if there is, we'll have to have Tim come up, because he's probably the only one that might have an answer for that. But it's pretty straightforward. You have to send this, I believe, to IDEM, is that correct? And get approval through them for the change of use?
So what we have to do is upload the copy of the transcript from today's meeting, the sign-in sheet that everybody signed, and the resolution that you'll pass. Once we send that to them, they're gonna send us back some documentation that can be filed with the county assessor's office. And at that point, then it's free to transfer the property.
Do you know this? I had asked Jacob to send me some notes, but he was a little preoccupied, understandably. Do you know if IDEM has given the approval for the development as the property now sits, or is there more work to be done over there?
That I don't know. That would be a Jacob question.
Okay. Because we had to have that approval before the land transfer, was my understanding.
All I can speak to is what we need to do with OCRA to ensure the city does not have to pay that CDBG money. That's the only part that I have.
This pertains to the grant that we used to clean up over there?
Correct.
Okay. So again, the original purpose was to leave that at Greenland for 5 years, is that correct, Tim? And we're asking to have this changed for the development that has the tax credits approved for it. Are there any questions? Is everyone okay to move this forward?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move this forward to tonight's meeting, and Tim, you're up.
Ready for the spiel?
Yep.
All right, so it is complicated, so I'm gonna try and simplify it as much as can be done, anyway. So essentially, in February of 2023, the city of Logansport was awarded CDBG funds in the amount of $490,500 to demolish and clear the concrete slab and subsurface infrastructure at 1 North General Street, previously known as the Trelleborg site. Following that, like, clearance, actually, I think it was in the doing a housing study, which indicated additional housing needs of up to 675 households, of which 35% would be renters, and of those, 25% would require rental rates below $1,250 a month. 42% would require monthly rental rates between $1,250 and $1,750 a month. And essentially, we are able to take that space, which is obligated to be a green space because of the way that the grant was written, and we can transfer that into another eligible use under HUD's requirements. One of those eligible uses is low to moderate income housing. So the developer that expressed interest in that site have applied for IHCDA tax credits, and the dollar or the percentage that they put on the obligation for renters is that they be 60% or under the area median income. OCRA's LMI requirements are 80% or below the area median income. So essentially, what they're saying is they're going to be even lower than what OCRA requires us to be at to be classified as low income housing. The tax credit application they submitted indicated that 72 units would be built in phase one, and those would all be at 60% or below area median income. So the long and short of it is that the definition that HUD puts on low to moderate income housing will be met and surpassed by this development, so we're able to transfer that property. If we were not using an eligible activity, and the city wanted to say, sell it to a commercial developer and, build stores there, then they would have to pay back that $490,000. If we're transferring it into an eligible use, the city can hang on to that grant money and essentially will not be obligated to pay that back. What you're doing is you're transferring all the obligations for the property from the city to the developer, so the developer is going to have to report back to the city that they're meeting all of those obligations. So essentially, they have to keep track of the income for the people that are living in the apartment buildings because that's an obligation for the tax credits that they've applied for. So they're already keeping all the same documentation that they would need to keep to satisfy OCRA's requirements. So in essence, it's a win-win because the city's going to be able to build low-income housing, and they're not going to have to pay back grant funds because the developer's already keeping track of everything that OCRA would be doing. And in all actuality, that period that they have to monitor the property and ensure that it's meeting all the OCRA requirements is 5 years after closeout. Closeout occurred last year. So if it takes them another 4 years to develop the property and have people move in, they've essentially taken on no responsibilities because they're not actually having anybody living in that property. Is that as clear as mud? I know it's kind of weird and confusing. I already had to learn way more about tax credits for this than I've ever wanted to learn in my life. So part of the obligation was that we had to post the incomes for the family sizes. That was in the public notice. That was a part of the resolution that you're working on passing. It's not passed yet, right? That's what you're talking about passing it.
We don't have any figures on that. We didn't get any figures. We just got the resolution.
So one of the parts of clarification I might add is those dollar amounts are based on assessments of the area median income, which are done annually. So the dollar amounts that were posted in the public notice only apply to the area median income that was established starting in June of last year. So that area median income figure will remain constant until June of this year, roughly. So at that point, that area median income will be adjusted, and they will still have to meet 60% of whatever the new area median income is.
So if they don't develop that for 4 years, it'll be whatever that is in 4 years.
Correct. And I kind of went back and forth with them on publishing that because I was worried people might take that to heart, and 4 years from now, when they were looking to get an apartment, they might refer back to these figures and say, I was told that this dollar amount would be
Right.
In fact, that is not the case. And in addition to those income requirements, we also had to post the rental figures for those units. As I understand it, IHCDA updates those rental amounts monthly. So
So let me ask you this then. So if it could change monthly, now when you say it's for that area, our town is broken up into sections, is that correct?
The area median income is based on county figures.
It's a county figure, it's not, so basically, if, historically, that number probably doesn't change a whole lot from month to month.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because they don't publish those median income figures monthly, they publish them annually. But yeah, they're countywide, so it wouldn't matter necessarily where you're located within the
Okay.
city.
So if one of our larger employers that paid well went out of town, all these people could get reduced rent possibly.
Because they're gonna assess what your area median income is as of the date that you're applying. For the apartment.
But my rent's not gonna change monthly based on your number, is it?
Once you've signed a lease, it should not change.
Okay, so when I apply, that's when you're gonna look at my income and compare it to what your base is, and that's how my rent's gonna be calculated. And then every month, you're saying that they recalculate this median number for new applicants only.
I'm sorry, no, the median number is changed annually,
It's, but the rental amount is changed monthly, but only for applicants, not for the people already sitting in the building. Okay, thank you.
Although, to clarify, I'm not sure if they'll offer month-to-month rent, in which case I would assume if you choose to go month-to-month, then most likely, yes, your monthly rent would change. I'm not sure what the developer is offering. I don't know if they're offering year-long leases, 5-year leases, month-to-month leases, so presumably if they were to offer a month-to-month option for renters, then yes, your rent might change monthly because IHCDA is gonna change the rental allowance monthly. I don't know enough about the developers. I was hoping Jacob would be here tonight to be able to answer those questions because he's been there.
Asking y'all.
I don't know anybody that does a monthly lease, so I'm going,
But your rent conceivably, I think most of them here in town are set up on a year lease. So your rent could conceivably change year to year, from when you started to the next year.
Yes, at the new
But
year,
your neighbor might be paying more than you because he moved in a month later.
and they will have to
Right.
reassess your income every year too. That's another obligation they have both for OCRA and for IHCDA.
Your rent could change, but they couldn't send you away, they couldn't have you move because you went over the limit on the percentage.
They could. I don't know. That, again, you're getting into the tax credit questions that I'm not capable of answering because that's a big question.
All right.
doesn't really affect what we're,
No, it doesn't
This
affect it. I'm
affects
just
what
trying to
we're talking
understand it.
okay, me too,
Yep.
but doesn't affect what we're passing.
Essentially, we have to confirm that everyone is okay with this land being used instead of being green space
Right,
as low-income housing.
yep,
That's what's being decided today.
right.
The resolution that's in there refers to some state and federal codes. Those are the state and federal codes that you're required to meet per your original grant agreement. So those are requirements that you already signed up for when you got the grant money to tear out the foundation at Charlotte Ford. Or they apply to the IHCDA tax credits, which the developer is obligated to follow as long as they're using those tax credits.
Right. And just so I understand, this agreement has nothing to do with getting final authorization from IDEM that this property is cleaned up and ready to be developed according to their standards.
No environmental assessment involved at all.
Yeah. Okay.
No, this is literally just to approve the transition from green space into low-income housing.
Okay. You better, because this is a hearing, she better come up and sit at the mic. Yeah.
I just have a question. I need to say my name and all that stuff. Susan Spencer, 2523 East Broadway. If we're, and maybe you could address this, but if the developer backs out on this transaction, what happens with space and the housing, if this developer backs out, what happens?
If the city decided to allow the developer to build an apartment complex that they would charge market rate for, then you would be obligated to pay back the grant funds. If there's no building that's built here, then nothing happens. You're just changing the eligible use of the land.
So, okay, had nothing, all right, thanks.
Next. Susie, Kelly, Chris, and BJ.
Old time's sake. Old time's sake.
The whole time's sake, I don't live left, sorry. Mike Berkshire, 528 Bates Street, Logansport, Indiana, 469-472-520. This place is in my backyard, and I just have a couple, few questions. One is, I've always understood the mantra of realtors is location, 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 and I have to question whether this is a proper location for a multifamily apartment complex. You're placing hundreds of people on the west side of Logansport, which is basically a grocery desert. There's no shopping on that end of town. With all due respect to Gas Transit, we have very little public transit available in Logansport to get people to and from that end of town to where the shopping is. I don't agree. I don't think it's a good idea to put that many people in that area. I don't think it's a convenient location for such a facility. Personal opinion, something like this should go up behind or around Walmart or Home Depot, someplace like that. But you're going to put a lot of people out where they can't get anywhere. Plus, who's paying for the infrastructure, the streets and such? I just question this. I have to question whether or not it's an appropriate use of the property. I've always heard the definition, the difference between a politician and a statesman is a politician thinks into the next election while a statesman thinks into the next generation. So I, sitting here as a citizen, have to question whether or not putting such a facility at the Troberg site is an appropriate move. There's my 2 cents. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Good seeing you again.
Always a pleasure.
You'll probably get another letter from me. Else have any public comments? Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Be safe. All right. No other comments?
Okay.
Close the public hearing at 6:09. I'll have Ross send it to you.
It's Monday, March 2nd, 2026. I'm Mayor Chris Martin calling to order the regular session of the Common Council. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. BJ Cox. Present. Chris Howard.
Present.
Cameron Austin.
Present.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Present.
Scott Peedy.
Present.
Susie Wamsley.
Present?
Dave Morris.
Present.
We'll start with the bid openings for the Memorial Center. Kelly, did you have any bid openings?
I have none, or some electronic ones, or Dave has?
I don't have it. Malcolm.
I handed you the bid tabulation. There was one bid
That
submitted.
came in electronically?
It was not closed. It wasn't a sealed bid. This is all I have.
Okay, this is the way they submitted
There
it.
is a submittal ratio architects.
With bid bonds and all that kind
bid and the bid total per grant.
Yeah, usually we take them under advisement to check out the documents and then approve them.
That's correct.
I'm a little concerned about this one being open before the meeting.
We confirmed that they could be submitted electronically with the state before that we allowed them for that.
So the fact that it was,
I was surprised too.
okay, that was you guys set it up that way? You folks?
Yes, they approved it.
Okay.
We just need, all we need is the base bid and the alternatives total, and the bid total we read aloud for the record and then take it under advisement.
Do you want them read? I suggest you do that reading.
Okay, no problem. So the bid that we received was Berkman Construction Company. The base bid that was provided was $2,300,000. The alternatives total that was submitted was $285,000. Their bid total came to $2,585,000.
You shut your recorder off. All right, do it.
Do I have a motion to take the bid under advisement?
Motion.
Second.
Call for question.
BJ Cox,
Yes.
Chris Howard,
Yes.
Cameron Austin,
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster,
Yes.
Scott Petey,
Yes.
Susie Wamsley,
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
All right, we'll start with the approval of minutes for the February 2nd, 2026 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Say, Chris.
I'm sorry? Minutes.
Perfect. Okay.
Any further discussion? Call for.
Was it
Sorry.
second?
Yes.
seconded?
Who seconded that? Was it Chris? Cam.
Cam, okay.
Call for question.
Chris Howard,
Yes.
Cameron Austin,
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster,
Yes.
Scott Petey,
Yes.
Susie Wamsley,
Yes.
Dave Morris,
Yes.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
All right, reports from committees, boards, and commissions.
Mr. Mayor, we had a Rules Committee meeting on February 23rd where we discussed an amendment to the time clock ordinance, which is on the agenda tonight, as well as mayor appointments to the Historic Preservation Commission, which is also on the agenda tonight.
Finance Committee meeting on the same night. We had discussion on the field training officers incentive pay and the student host for the Urban Green Infrastructure Program through IU for this summer. And both of those are on tonight's agenda.
We had a Parks Committee meeting on February 23rd. The first thing on our agenda was to discuss the resolution to change the fee schedule for the Parks Department, and the only change was for an increase in the swimming lessons to $50, and that was approved and moved forward. The second thing on our agenda on that evening was discussing the crosswalk at Spencer Park, and that was not moved to tonight's meeting and was sent back to the Parks Board for reconsideration.
All right. Any other reports from committees, boards, and commissions? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to new business, Resolution 2026-110. Councilman Morris.
Resolution 2026-110, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving the appointment of members to the Historic Preservation Commission. I'd move this forward for a vote.
Second?
Any further discussion? Call for question.
Scott Petey,
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster,
Yes.
Susie Wamsley,
Yes.
Dave Morris. Chris Howard,
Yes.
Cameron Austin,
Yes.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Resolution 2026-110 passes. Resolution 2026-111, Councilwoman Wamsley.
Resolution 2026-111, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending Resolution 2025-152, approving funds for the Urban Green Infrastructure Resilience Cohort for the year of 2026. And I move for a vote on Resolution 2026-111.
Second.
Call for question?
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Chris Howard.
Yes.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Resolution 2026-111 passes. Resolution 2026-112, Councilman Austin.
Resolution 2026-112, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, establishing affordable rental standards for local housing at First General Street, utilizing IHCDA tax credits to support housing availability for low-income families. Mr. Mayor, ask for a vote on Resolution 2026-112.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call for question?
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Resolution 2026-112 passes. Resolution 2026-113, Councilman Cox.
Resolution 2026-113, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, reinstating the field training officer incentive pay for the remainder of 2026 and the budget year of 2027. Mr. Mayor, I ask for a vote on Resolution 2026-113.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call for question?
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Resolution 2026-113 passes. Ordinance 2026-02, Councilwoman Zinsmaster.
Ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending ordinance 2025-22 regarding time clock expectations for civil city employees. And I would ask for a vote on ordinance 2026-02.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call for question?
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
BJ Cox.
No.
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
No.
Ordinance 2026-02 passes 5-2 on its first reading. Ordinance 2026-03, Councilman Howard.
Ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending ordinance 2025-36, setting the fee schedule for programs, activities within the Logansport Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Mayor, I ask for a vote on ordinance 2026-03.
Second.
Any further discussion? Call for question?
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
BJ Cox. Chris Howard.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-03 passes on its first reading 6-1. Ordinance 2026-04, Councilman Austin.
Ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, amending ordinance 2025-34 to include the addition of a part-time evidence tech for the police department. Mr. Mayor, ask for a vote on ordinance 2026-04.
Any further discussion?
Yes, I would like to request that we suspend the rules on ordinance 2026-04 and pass it on first reading so that they can get a part-time evidence tech hired at the police department.
Call for a question on suspension of rules on ordinance 2026-04.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended on ordinance 2026-04. Motion to approve ordinance 2026-04 with the rules suspended.
Motion.
Second.
call for question.
BJ Cox.
Yes.
Dave Morris.
Yes.
Cameron Austin.
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
Scott Petey.
Yes.
Haley Zinsmaster.
Yes.
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-04 passes on its first and second reading with the suspension of rules. Any public comments? Anyone in the audience who would like to make a comment, please come to the microphone. State your name and address for us, please.
Joseph Stackhouse, 1631 Sweet Street, here in Logansport. Been here a few times before about the stormwater fees for small businesses. That's what I'm here again today about. I've not been coming because I've been working on stuff related to this. Some of the studies and stuff that I have done here shows that the current fee structure is beyond broken. It is. Let me just read what I've come for today, but that's the gist of it. I'm going to again use my little 10-foot by 10-foot hot dog stand reference because I think that's kind of important to see how a very small business in Logansport, if they were to buy a small plot of commercial land for say $10,000 and they start a little business, they're expected to currently pay $186 a month in stormwater fees. That's almost $2,500 a year. That's more than their property taxes. Within a 5-year period, they would have paid more in stormwater fees than they would have for the property entirely. So if you compare that to say Walmart, so Walmart owns approximately, what is it, 1,197,000 square foot property. So they are capped at the $744.66 a month stormwater fee. Yet you could fit 11,979 of those hot dog stands within Walmart's property. So now you think, okay, get out your calculator. What's the percentage difference there? What is Walmart paying for stormwater fees? Let's say it's, if you divide it up, it's 0.000622 per square foot. The same little hot dog, the little guy pays $1.86 per square foot. And if you look and do the math, that's a 300,000% difference per square foot for a small business versus the big guy. And we're not saying that you shouldn't pay these fees. We're all a community. We all use stormwater systems. Of course, we all need to contribute. But again, it's not fair. It's not proportionate. LMU knows this. They're supposed to get back with you guys with a plan for this. I know that. But I still think it's important for the public to understand that the current calculation on this is completely incorrect. It is making tiers that you need to do it by square foot. You need to do it properly. Many communities do. If I was to open my business in Peru today, I would be paying less than, I think it's like $16 a month in stormwater fees. Yes, they don't have the burden that we have. We have the loans that we took out. I understand that, but it's very, if I was looking to come to Logansport to start a business, it's not that you can't pay the $186 a month. It's the matter of fact that it's 50 to 55% of your total water and electricity bill. It's more than your property taxes. In most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, it's more than your property taxes. Something's got to be done to make it fair for the small guy and the big guy, and hopefully not jack residential rates too high as well. So that's the gist of it.
Sure, can I just,
Yeah, sure.
you know, we've been in several meetings together, we've had good discussions. The Stormwater Board approved $100,000 funding for them to come in and actually assess every piece of property within the city limits. I don't know when that's going to start. I can get you a date on that, but I believe that there's an awareness on their board to take a good look at it. They've allocated the funds, and they're going to hire a firm to come in, independent firm to come in and try and get this accomplished during the year.
Well,
I know that doesn't appease you for the moment,
no.
but it's, and again, I would, you know,
Do you happen to know, there's no sunset provision, city council, when they passed this ordinance for the stormwater fee, there's no sunset provision in there for when that fee ends. So when are we expected to pay this fee till, the end of 2030?
well, I would assume, you know, I don't have the exact answer, but what I can tell you is they have different bonds that expire at different times. And if they get to a point where they don't need all the funding that's in place from the community to continue paying that, I would assume that those rates would be reduced accordingly. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I know there's about 5 different bonds involved. You know, they come to, I don't even know what the total is. It's a ridiculous amount of money.
Sure. Yeah.
These were all federally mandated, unfunded things that we had to do, and we have to have, and they're actually in a review process right now to determine whether or not we have to do one more phase. So, hold on to your belts, but it'll be up to IDEM and EPA to decide. After we completed the project that was just done, they get a year to monitor that, and if we don't have those 1 in 100 year range more than, I don't know what the number is, 4 or 5 times in a year, they may say you're done with all of your stormwater projects, or they may say you need to go ahead and complete the final one. It's not a good situation, but they have put the money aside to address your issues. Honestly, I just got another email this week from another resident that was unhappy. I talked to him a little bit. I forwarded it on to the utilities, to Mr. Toth, for them to discuss it with this fellow. But hopefully they'll be getting that started. As soon as I know a date,
Right.
I will make sure that you're aware of it and find out what the projected timeline for that is.
So as of right now, my petition that I'm going around having small businesses sign for 2 things, for more, hopefully when this is redone, when LMU comes back with the study, that we can make this more equitable between everybody. And the second thing is to also make sure, well, there's 3 things, I guess. The ordinance has a sunset. You should be able to calculate it out to find out when those bonds are paid for. And the third,
It's all
sure.
amortized. You know, here, yeah, she's got her sheet right here. We've got bonds that run, there's my dates here. One that matures in 43, 44, 58, 45, 46. Oh, no, I take that back. Those are the water bonds. Never mind. The wastewater ones are 20, 38, 53, 40, 45, and 45. And I don't believe, actually, I don't believe those are the stormwater rates. Those are the water and wastewater rates. So that's water and sewerage. Those aren't the stormwater ones. So I'll get those for you.
Well,
But,
the petition also addresses the fact that the current wording in the current ordinance for stormwater is very vague. It doesn't say when LMU can give you a break, anything like that. It mentions it in there, a multiple of the residential rate. I got tired of asking for a break. They gave me one time, then they did a rate study, and they jacked it back up. And at that point, Greg was like, well, we can do a meeting or whatever, and I said, no. I said, I'm tired of it. I said, I just want to get this changed for everybody, not just myself. So I've continued to pay my $186 a month. Now, I asked Purdue to do a study. They gave me 4 students to do their capstone project to help you guys, when LMU handles whatever they're going to hand to you guys, to also give you the idea of what the EPA and their studies say that you should, good practices to put in your stormwater ordinance, such as, say Walmart, you jack the price on them now to make it more fair for me, but they got bioswales out there. Okay, but that's not in the ordinance to say that they get a credit for doing that. You could put impermeable pavement, again, to get a credit off your stormwater fee. And if you don't put that in there now, you're gonna be back here in 20 or 30 years when the stormwater has increased because now everybody's dumping more stormwater because none of this was ever done right. You see what I'm saying? So
stormwater's just rain.
yes, but you can absorb it in ways that reduces your impact.
Sure.
But if there's no incentive for you to do that, you'll never do it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. I'm drafting a letter also, stormwater fee advocacy letter to Jim Baird, Todd Young, Jim Banks, Stacy Donato here, Ethan Manning, the Governor Mike Braun, the EPA Administrator Lee Zedlin, the EPA's Municipal Ombudsman, and Logansport City Council, and Logansport Utilities. And I'll get that to you guys soon. So I'm also having to look into the deals that you guys have. Now that you have to pay stormwater fees as well, how much is LMU giving you a break? If they're giving you guys a break, why are they not giving us small businesses a break? And it's unfortunate that I have to do that. I don't want to drag the whole city into this thing, but unless the impact on small businesses is heard, and it's funny because my petition, if I can get in front of a small business owner, even after explaining all of it and all the loans, and we do owe this money, they still agree that it's not fair, and 100% of small business owners will sign this petition. I've yet to have somebody say no. So. that's
And
all.
like I said, Joe, you've made an impression on the Stormwater Board, and that's why the funding was put in place.
Right.
And I'll see if I can get you a date on when that study's gonna start.
Well, I hope it's before the end of 2030, and I hope at the end of 2030, they don't just make another phase, because,
It's gonna be this year that the study will be done.
yeah.
Also, make sure that there's an ending to that too. You said there's no ending in the contract for the, okay.
City council would have to do it themselves, or LMU would say, hey, we're done now. Otherwise, it'll just continue as the new norm.
If you don't have something like in there, if we don't put that in there, when it does go to that point, it'll just continue.
Unless you guys act.
No one will realize it, no one will know.
No one would know unless you guys catch it or LMU tells you.
When I had a small business, I was complaining about same fees.
Yep.
And the manager told me, so if you put in a catch basin, we'll reduce that. I said, put it in. How do I get that? Who puts them in?
Yep.
He looked at me and looked like this. He said, no, you can't do that. So,
There should be an incentive to dump less stormwater into the system and a credit on your bill. If you eliminate 30% of your stormwater, guess what? You should get 30% off your stormwater. It should be
Exactly.
based on your usage.
exactly.
So,
I agree.
and right now, because I think, we owed so much, it was just done in big old tiers and they make no sense at all.
Yeah.
That's why you end up with a 300,000% disparaging thing between a 10-foot by 10-foot property and Walmart as far as how much they're paying per square foot of shedding off water off of their property.
Yes. And Julie's has not given you a solid answer to your questions?
The best answer I have is what Dave said. They're gonna do a study, they're gonna try to do something right.
So,
But-
no, they didn't answer your question. Utilities.
They didn't give me specifics on how exactly that they were gonna try to fix it.
Talk around the problem?
I still think the only way to fix it is to do it by square foot. You could even do this residential. If you got somebody who owns a big mansion, they should pay more per square foot stormwater fee than a small little house. It just makes common sense. So, but yeah, none of that's done, and it's my understanding that most of that data is already available through the state. They already have that data. It's already there. Somebody just needs to look at it. And
Good luck with your investigation and
Yep.
continue to get the politicians involved in it.
will do, and I'll come back to you guys with what Purdue recommends, and that way, when you get what LMU recommends, you can look at what Purdue says, again, that's their study, whatever, you guys can take it for face value, but I think it's gonna come back with a lot of good ideas, such as giving people credits if they put in a bioswale, even a rain barrel. You'd be surprised, a 55-gallon rain barrel, a downpour on a house, if you catch that first 10 minutes of that, the impact on the stormwater system is a lot less.
Any laws that state you can't save rainwater?
Oh, I don't know about that. I know that was a big,
Argument about that a while back.
I don't know about
People
that.
are drinking it.
Yeah, but I think the communities that have incorporated that said, look, these are rain barrels meant for this use, and they just, yeah. I don't see people drinking out of their rainwater barrels. It wouldn't surprise me, but, all right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe. Any other public comments? All right, council member comments?
I have a couple. Hopefully I'm throwing this out there so I can find out who might be around. Finance, probably the next meeting would be March 23rd. I believe that's the start of spring break, but well, we're working on the date for the next finance committee meeting. I know Cam has a committee meeting he wants to bring up. But I did want to share a couple other things with you. Just a little while ago, I got from AIM that it looks like, Chad, they passed the $75 million addition for community crossings. So we need to keep our eyes open to when they're going to ask us to reapply for community crossings. It's going to be for the ones that were denied originally. So that passed, and some other bills passed. The lit funding was delayed a year. The changes in the lit funding, they've kicked that back to 2029. It looks like. So there's probably a lot more details to this, but I got this about 10 minutes before I left home. So just wanted to bring those two things up. Those will help us as we try to navigate the future.
I had a comment. I was driving on Erie Avenue yesterday, and it's terrible. Sinkholes, whatever, and needs fixing. Mayor, can you tell me where do we leave off, and if there's anything pending for funds to keep going from 8th Street on? Do you know?
When we worked on that during the first term, when we worked on it, that's one of the things that we didn't talk about was coming back. We were gonna give it a break and then come back and start discussing it again to continue the phasing, but we just haven't gotten back to it yet. Absolutely, I agree.
Erie Avenue, before this 5th, 8th Street was done, I had heard, it was a rumor that it had been 48 years since Erie Avenue was touched. We need to get back on that. It's a main thoroughfare through the town, it's an entrance to town, and we need to get it shaped up.
Absolutely, I like it.
I have a comment. I'm on the Cass County Solid Waste District Committee, and I just want everyone to know that on Friday, April 17th, we're going to have a cleanup day. And so this is for people who have items that they don't know how to get rid of. Like you don't want to spend money doing it, and it's just like all the things that you don't know what to do with. So I just want to put it out that we're doing this on April 17th, and it's going to be also, that's Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th. Saturday is just from 9 to noon, and Friday is 9 to 3. But I'm serious, like if you have like electronics you don't know how to get rid of, tires, you got a couch sitting somewhere you want to get rid of, this is the place to do it. This is the time to do it. And I would like for you to share this with all your friends, that we're gonna, it's just,
Street location.
actually, it's gonna be at the Biddle Street, and then it's gonna be, we're doing Royal Center and Walton. And they're gonna have, big dumpsters there for people to bring their stuff. But like the electronic stuff has to go over to our Biddle Street place. And anyway, it's just a great opportunity to clean up your yards, clean up your stuff that you don't know what to do with. Like, let's just get out there and get busy on April 17th and 18th. I really encourage people to take advantage of this because it doesn't cost you any money. You're just,
That'll be in coordination with the city's cleanup day on the 18th?
yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I just want to,
very good.
excuse me? You can have this one, sir. I can print another one.
Is that limited to residential?
No, this is, the Cass County Solid Waste is the whole county. There you go. Excuse me? It doesn't matter. You got stuff to get rid of, this is the day to do it. Day and a half. I'm all about cleaning up trash, so I want to help everyone.
Any other council member comments?
Down here at Fifth and Market at Burkhart Park, there's a section of the fence along the sidewalk. It's been down for quite a while. If someone should happen to walk over there and fall off the fence, how liable are we for taking care of that since it is a park? Falling down the,
Fence is gonna fall over when you walk by it?
there's a fence missing, sections of fence are missing going up the hill.
Sidewalk
on
you're
this-
talking about, BJ?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if someone would go up there, just happen to fall off the side, they get hurt. It's ours, yeah.
It's our park, so.
To be taken care of. Also, there's from all the snow removal, I think different companies just pushed all their dirt and stuff on the corner there, and it's covering the sidewalks. That needs to be cleaned up too. That's all at Fifth on Market. You can see a lot of dirt and grass, and I don't think the street department did it. It looks like private companies that just move their stuff out from parking lots. Right.
Fence creates a sense of safety, and you create a false sense of safety for people.
Mhm.
You don't want to go, better have no fence than a false fence.
Any other council member comments? Miscellaneous business and any matters not already considered, including ADA Section 504 compliance or concerns. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Call for question?
Chris Howard.
Yes.
Kelly Zinsmaster,
Yes.
BJ Cox,
Yes.
Scott Peedy,
Yes.
Dave Morris,
Yes.
Cameron Austin,
Yes.
Susie Wamsley.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Have a great night.